Hello and welcome back to Tokyo PM. It's been a while since I've sat behind the camera, so it's really good to be back here. Now, one thing I wanted to say was thank you very much to the new subscribers that have followed our channel. I've been sharing this personally on LinkedIn, as well as hosted a couple of events in person. And so now we have 35 subscribers, I believe, which, considering that I started this a month ago, is very exciting, but also makes me a little bit nervous. So if you have any feedback, if you have any questions that you actually want me to explore, then please do let me know. And I look forward to continuing on this journey with you. So I went back to work at the beginning of this month. And before going to work, I decided to enroll myself in the product school PM course because I want a little bit of understanding of the basics before I go back to work to sort of prepare me for working again, because if you take paternity leave for 4 months, then it slows things down in a very nice way, but it then doesn't prepare you to deliver at your best. So I wanted the opportunity to learn a little bit before going back to work. And one of the first things that the course covers is something that's called the Jobs to be Done framework. Now, why are frameworks important? We're going to make a separate video on this, but basically frameworks provide a way for you to understand or perceive the world, create a hypothesis, and come to a conclusion. And so in this case, you've got Porter's 5 forces, and you have the Jobs to be Done framework, which takes a certain way of seeing things and tries to give you a new perspective. And so it's worth it as a PM to try and understand what frameworks are out there and if they apply to you in certain situations. Now, the Jobs to be Done framework is very simple, and actually I find the name a little bit confusing. Jobs makes it seem like it's what we do, the job. So the way that I like to reframe it is a task. So what task is the customer trying to do? The reason that this framework came to be was because at the moment we have a lot of detail when it comes to marketing. We can segment users. We can say that you have users of a certain age group, of a certain demographic, and that's all well and good. It's been a while since I've been behind camera, so I need a little second to refresh. These videos are very, I would say, off the cuff, but it's a room for me to learn. So please do apologize for the poor editing and poor scripting. But basically, the Jobs to be Done framework is revolved around the fact that at the moment we use a lot of user segmenting to try and understand our customers. And the issue with that is you're creating correlation, but not causation. And one personal experience that came to mind was when I told my friend, I'm 27, married, dual income, and I have kids. And they said, you are the number one key demographic for marketers at the moment. And I was thinking, well, that's strange because I don't buy many things. And so what do you mean by that? And she said, well, you're young. So you have money, but your kids aren't in school yet. At the same time, you're dual income. So it's assumed that there's more disposable income as a family. And so then you would be willing to buy more. At the same time, you're a parent, which can kind of clash with the youth aspect. But being a parent, there's many baby products that are targeted towards kids. And so by looking at user segments, we might correlate with high consumption family. However, that does not reflect, why would I buy something? Why do I want something? What is my motivation behind getting something? So I thought it was interesting that while I was in these groups, it does not capture my need or what I was hoping to accomplish when looking at a specific product. Now, in the discussion that I had with Todd, it will be uploaded in a separate interview and link and in the description below. He highlighted that it's vital to have a deep understanding of the user and to understand what the user is trying to accomplish and why. And so this is where the Jobs to be Done framework comes in. When you're looking at a user segment, that's all well and good, but you don't understand the user. Yes, you can correlate, they are the young parents, dual income, and so they might buy this, or they might take a week-long trip to kid-friendly, holiday home. But that does not capture the reason that I would do that. Why would I do that? And so the guy who created the framework is called Clayton Christensen, and he worked together with McDonald. this is the best example that I can think of when it comes to how to describe the jobs to be done framework. Is he worked together with McDonald's, and what happened was McDonald's really wanted to improve their milkshake sales. And so what they did was they brought users in, they identifies which users would buy milkshakes at the moment and bring them in, try and understand, why would they have milkshakes, but they're looking at the demographics. So they assume, they notice that it's people in the drive-through who come in the morning. And then they start interviewing their market segment to see, why are you buying these milkshakes? And then based on the feedback, they tried to change the milkshake to make it a little bit more popular, but it didn't work. Like there was no improvement in sales, even though there was a lot of effort put behind it. And so Clayton Christensen, who created this jobs to be done framework, he worked together with McDonald's, and he actually went to McDonald's with his research team, and he would sit there and he would see who buys the milkshake. He would see who comes in, who gets a milkshake, and he would ask them why, when. So he would see that people were coming in to get a milkshake in the drive-through. You wouldn't get so much milkshake sales in the shop. And so he would then ask those who are in the drive-through, why are you buying a milkshake and why are you buying it at this time? They noticed that milkshake sales were very popular in the morning. And so he would ask them, what job, essentially, or what task are you hiring this milkshake to accomplish? And so what was insightful for him was in this discussion and in really trying to understand these users, he realized that the milkshake fulfills a role that exists for across products. So what would happen is the drivers, they would maybe eat donuts on the way to work. And they realize, well, actually donuts, they feel guilty because there's a lot of calories in donuts. Then maybe they would eat chewing gum, but then they would see the amount of wrappers of chewing gum, and then they would see that as a physical counter of, oh, I'm actually having a lot of chewing gum on my way to work. And so then they would feel a little bit guilty. And what happened with the milkshake was they realized that, oh, I can have one milkshake and it's viscous enough to last me till I get to work. And so it accompanies me for my commute to the office. And so what Clayton realized was, even though your user segment might change, right? So you might have younger people going to the office, older people going to the office when they're commuting. But if you're looking at the job that's trying to be accomplished, which is something to accompany me on the drive so that my commute is, more entertaining, then he realized the milkshakes are currently filling that role better than anything else, better than donuts, better than not having a milkshake or not having any snacks, better than biscuits and etc. And so trying to narrow down on what is the customer trying to accomplish, what are they hiring the milkshakes to do? And so the same thing applies if you look at the iPods to Spotify and the transition as such. So looking at the iPod, if you look at it from a marketing segment, you can say, oh, it's for those who are, a little bit older, has more money to access the tech, and they're a little bit excited to get a lot of music into their pocket. But since Spotify came around, you can see that the users of Spotify range far beyond the initial user segment. And so if you switch the analysis of it, you go, well, what is the iPod trying to accomplish? What was the job that the iPod was trying to accomplish? And it was for the music enthusiast to have more access to more music. And if you think about it in that way, then the evolution of Spotify makes sense, because you're looking at Spotify, who's now able to give the whole world of music to the individual, to the music enthusiast, because the job that they're trying to accomplish is give more music to their customer, because their customer is trying to find more music than what they currently have. And so when it comes to the products, this is obviously at a more high level strategic perspective. So maybe if you're a new joiner of a company, you would not necessarily be considering these rules, but find a way to connect what you do to what the customer does, because your role as PM is very much customer centric. So try connect what you do to what the customer does and understand what is the job that the customer is trying to accomplish by using what you do. And the customer does not need to be external. So, for example, I'm currently working on the payments platform and also renewing the customer service tooling within our company. And so my customer is customer service team, right? So the difference is then I can actually work very closely with my customer. And so now I want to understand what job are they trying to accomplish and how can I make that better for them. So take a second, think about what role or what job your customers are trying to accomplish and how can your product help them do that better than anything else. And that is the jobs to be done framework. Thank you.